It's been a difficult few months for the Meadows-Naylor family. Their son Brody was born with gastroschisis, a birth defect in which the baby's intestines stick outside of the baby's body through a hole beside the belly button.
I was a wreck. I was an absolute wreck. They wheeled me into the NICU unit in the big stretcher bed because I still had the epidural, so I couldn't move my legs and I couldn't even touch him, and we couldn't hold him until 12 days after he was born. So we just spent hours and hours and hours, touching him and talking to him every day and just trying to be there that way for him, which I think really helped.
Just hours after giving birth, doctors tried to put Brody's bowels back inside, but because they were so inflamed, they had to postpone surgery. Brody then spent the first few days of his life with his bowels placed in a bag outside his body. It was 3 days later that Brody underwent surgery to have his abdominal organs placed inside his body and to repair a perforation on his bowels. And while the surgery was successful, his stay at the hospital was not yet over. He had to spend 5 more weeks at BC Children's Hospital recovering. For Michael, having to split his time between West Kelowna, where they live, and Vancouver, and having to take care of their 2 other kids back home, as well as work, it was needless to say a trying time.
It's really tough because every time I go, Brody had changed, he'd grown up a little bit, and I felt like I was missing out on so much. And then the kids here then happened to come back, leave them back in Vancouver, and just be present here whilst my mind was down with Kara and Brody in Vancouver in the hospital. So it was tough.
But in December, just 2 days before Christmas, they got the news they were waiting for. Brody was able to go home for the holidays. But the good news didn't last long. After only 2 weeks at home, Brody began vomiting heavily, and after repeated visits to Kelowna General Hospital, they were air ambulanced to BC Children's Hospital, where it was discovered that he had 2 obstructions in his bowels, requiring a 7-hour surgery.
I was there with him 24/7 for 10 weeks. The support at BC Children's is absolutely wonderful. I would not have been able to make it those 10 weeks without all of the nurses and the doctors and the surgery team, and they became like our family. They just got to know us so well, and they were just wonderful support at helping me. If I needed a little break, they'd hold him and take him for a little walk around the ward, and they're just absolutely the best.
Every morning the nurses would come in and the doctors would do their rounds, and they'd update you on what was happening, what they thought the progress was, and then there was like a big consensus between the team as to how things were looking. And the nurses were just there all the time if you needed anything. They were just always there and really helpful, supportive and kind, and big help.
Brody is now 5 months old and doing well, and he's proving that he's their little miracle.
The whole time we were just dreaming about being together and being able to do the family things and enjoying summer and all that kind of stuff. And the kids obviously not knowing their brother up until he was a couple of months old. It was really tough, but it's been amazing.
We're just living our life normal now, getting into routine, being back home, and he's putting weight on and he's doing wonderful and super healthy, and we hope everything continues to go well.
In West Kelowna, I'm Marianne Okel for Shaw TV.